Luke, I am your father.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to be doing some spray painting. We're going to be painting up a plastic bonnet guide, and I've just purchased a new spray gun, so we're going to be testing that out with a view to using it on a few other bits and pieces, which I'll be posting in some later videos. But for now, we're going to get into some preparation. We're going to sand back this polycarbonate, basically goes along the front of the bonnet of your car to protect it from stone chips, if you haven't seen one of these before. But I thought it'd be a nice small piece to practice on. So let's get into it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start giving it a light sand with a 600 grit sandpaper, and then moving up to an 800, spraying it with some primer plastic filler, let that set for an hour, and then we're going to sand that back again and hit it with the spray gun. So looking forward to that. Here we go. So I've set up a little bit of a workbench out here. Definitely want to be doing this outside. I've also got breathing apparatus. We definitely don't want to be inhaling the paint once we get round to that. So I'm running a P600 first. And at this point we're really just giving it a little bit of a prep and a clean almost, just to help the paint stick to the plastic a little bit more effectively. So I've sanded this for about 10 minutes in total, taking extra care to kind of make sure that we've got these areas, this is where you're going to be lifting the bonnet or the hood up. So around here we're going to make sure we get a decent amount of coverage, and make sure that those high impact or high traffic areas, if you want to call them that, are well prepared. So there we go. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to spray it with some wax grease remover. And it's going to clean off any unwanted residues. Alright, so now we're going to use this plastic primer and filler. Flexible primer filler for imperfections on most plastics. Let's see how this turns out. So it's a light grey. I'm going to spray it on, let it dry, and sand it back. We want to make sure that we're using some kind of breathing apparatus just to protect our lungs a little bit. But anyway, so we've got a nice light coat of that primer on there. I'm just going to let that dry, sand that back, and then we're going to load up the spray gun and have a crack and see how that goes. Alrighty, so we've allowed that to just dry off. We're going to give it a light sand with an 800 grit sandpaper. So I've set up a little bit of a spray booth, if you will, over here. We've got a little bit of breeze, and that's going to impact the way the paint behaves. We're also going to protect our areas from overspray. So I've put down a drop sheet, and I got my piece of timber there. Just got the part precariously balanced on there. If we can get it so that it's not touching anything, that'll be ideal. So we've got a gun rigged up. I'm going to pour in about 200 mils of this paint. So I'm going to put in, and this is why you always want to work with a drop sheet and maybe a piece of cardboard or timber, because you will spill paint no matter how hard you try not to. Alright, so I'm just going to give this a little test spray onto our cardboard backing here, and that's looking pretty cool. And then just giving that a feel. I can tell you one thing, that's a hell of a lot more fun than using spray cans. We haven't got ideal, perfect spraying conditions here. Humidity's a bit high. We should be indoors, but pretty happy with that. And do that with the spray can to get that kind of nice even coat. It'd be very difficult. So what I'm going to do is just try and spin this around so I can hit the bottom of this lip, and then I'm going to leave it for 5 minutes to set, and then do second coat, probably do a second and a third coat. So I've just got this lip here, you can see we haven't quite covered that. Oh, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen. That's disappointing. So pretty much just wrecked the whole thing because that fell off. I wasn't being careful enough. That's right, we'll let that dry now. Give that a bit of time to dry. Give it a light sand, and then we'll do a couple more coats. Alrighty, so yeah, initial results are pretty good. I did go a little bit heavy-handed on that corner there, but I'm going to try and sort that out now. But all in all, I'm very happy with the results. It is so much easier than using a spray can. Yeah, there's a bit of setup. It's not perfect, you know, because it did fall off, but I've already done 2 coats. This is going to be the 3rd coat. I'll go along the back here lightly and then turn the whole thing around and do the front edge, and then that'll be it. I'll let it cure up. Might need to sand it back, and then I'll consider top coating it. So much easier than a spray can. And let that set for 5 more minutes, and then do 1 more coat, just because I'm having so much fun doing this. Alrighty, so we've got 3 coats on here. I'm just going to give it a 4th coat just because I can, and we're done with it. So yeah, like I said before, really happy with the results. We'll do some nice B-roll just to show what it looks like on the car right now. Next thing we're going to do is just clean up the spray gun components with some thinner, some mineral turpentine. I'm going to put that paint that we haven't used back in the tin, seal up that tin really well. I reckon I've used about maybe 150, 200 mils of paint. Far more cost effective, and we're getting a much better finish. So if you're considering giving this a go, just give it a go. Not a bad idea just to see how, check your flow, have a little play with your adjustments before you commit, but definitely worth the investment. And we're just gonna show you what she's looking like. So this has been sanded back lightly with a 1200 grit sandpaper, and you can sort of see there's a few little dots there. I'm going to try and get rid of those today. Now it is pretty high humidity, so I've set up a little bit of a drying area inside my workshop. I've got a heater and a fan. Apart from that, no major issues I noticed from the humidity from yesterday. We got a fairly, actually one of the best finishes I've ever achieved spray painting, so pretty happy with the result. Just want to see if I can tweak that a little bit more, get a slightly better finish. I'll just share another little tip that I've picked up along the way. Just doing painted my entire inside of my house and doing a number of little paint jobs. Using a tool like this, this is actually a paint mixer stirrer, but it's got a little paint can opening end on it. And what that means is that when you open your can, you're not actually damaging the lid. So when you close it, it's gonna close properly again. It's a pretty small detail, but it's a little tip I've picked up over the years. Like I said before, this is the first time I've really used a spray gun to do this kind of work. I've done some, spraying fences and roofs and things like that, but never anything where I'm trying to get this really good finish with a spray gun. I've done it with spray cans. So yeah, little tip there, and also wearing gloves, some kind of glove, painting gloves, are gonna help keep your hands clean, because trust me, no matter how hard you try, you're gonna land up with paint on your hands one way or another. Right, so we're gonna throw in about 200 mils of paint. We're gonna go for 2 coats. So you're gonna spray it, leave it for 10 minutes. Humidity is very high today, but I didn't get any discoloration or blooming. The only disadvantage I can see at the moment with this particular product is it's taken quite a while to dry. It's supposed to be fully cured in 24 hours, but it was still a little bit, I would have given it another day, but now I've set up my drying booth inside. I think we can safely say we're going to get a nice result. By tomorrow I'll be able to put it on the Triton and we'll see what it looks like. So here we go. I'm going to load up my breathing apparatus. It helps if you turn on the compressor.
Alright, so I just pulled back on the flow a little bit for that, just to get a lighter coat, and we're seeing a really nice finish. We're getting a really nice finish. So I'm going to let that sit for 10 minutes and come back and do one more coat. Alright, so she's looking pretty good. That's just been a 10-minute time window to flash that off. I'm going to do one more final coat, and then that'll be it. So, just going to do a little bit of a run over that. I'm almost half tempted to just give it a little touch along this edge here. And he's looking pretty glossy. I've got one little imperfection there, which I'm just going to have to accept, I think. Because overall, it's looking very, very nice. Alright, last little touch. Hopefully this isn't one of those things that I do and then I'm like, oh, I should have just left it, but I just want a little bit more paint along this bottom edge here. Alright, so just so you guys can see this, I've set up a little bit of a drying station in here. Got a floor heater, or one of those little room heaters that moves backwards and forwards, with a fan on to get a bit of airflow on here, and we've got that just hopefully going to give us a nice even coat, nice even finish. I'm noticing a slight drip mark. I'm hoping that's gonna, sorry, not a drip mark, a little bit of a run, but all in all it's looking pretty good. So can't really see it in this light, but I just wanted to show you, yep, we've got a heater. Obviously we don't want to leave that unattended in case of fire hazard, so do be careful when doing stuff like this, and make sure that you're around while this is drying. I'm going to leave this for an hour and then turn it off because I've got to go pick up the kids. Alright, good luck, happy spraying.